Welcome, everyone. This is once again your host, Shailesh from New Zealand World News Positive. And we always bring you life journeys of real people, real humans, real speakers, and real experiences with real wisdom. And what more than I have the pleasure today to bring one of the most amazing, energetic life journeys that when you see her listen, when you see her, in your own way, you will understand what life journey is all about. Life journey is all about Adriana. If you want to know what is life journey, tune in today and let's listen and let's uncover the most amazing personality is all the way from Canada actually. So New Zealand, I am in New Zealand, she is in Canada, but what a way to connect today, a life journey of Adriana. Adriana, welcome to this amazing, beautiful episode that we do all the time. We bring speakers from all around the world and we uncover their life journeys. Life journeys is all about, how we learn, as you said before, how we learn from each other, how we support each other's life. Because at the end of the day, we all live a life in our own way with, accepting, mirroring, whatever you call it, resonating and comparing. But we strive to live our life with all the things that come with. But we learn from each other. So today, this amazing episode that we are inviting you is all about you, Adriana. It's not about me, it's about you. And all the listeners who are listening will know what is Adriana like and what is life journey is all about. So we will be discovering a lot of things from your childhood till now with all positive outcomes. So let's get into straight. Welcome, Adriana. Tell us something about you because I don't want to introduce you. I want you to introduce yourself. Let's do that.
Awesome. First of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Absolutely amazing. I have the opportunity to be here with you. I love your presence. I love what's happening here. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be present here in your audience, in your community. It's absolutely my pleasure. And I am excited. I'm nervous and excited. It's a combination of both of them. But overall, I'm just super excited.
So
When
tell
it
me
comes
who
with
you are.
Adriana, yes?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I did the
Yeah,
wrong.
when it comes to who is Adriana, that's a big question to ask
Mm.
as someone who are you? It's a big
Yes.
question, but when I can answer it, you can have different labels. I can say I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter. There's so many
Mm.
ways and hats
Yeah.
we wear. But the labels they call it, I want to say myself, I'm a forever student. I love a life student. I love to learn. I
Wow.
love to be open to learn. I'm a crazy, passionate, enthusiast human being. I
Wow.
love exploring life and enjoying life
Yeah.
and exploring who I am as well too every single day.
Wow, fantastic. So let's dive into, because we uncover the some of the amazing humans that we came here on this planet to live our journey, but also to make a difference to our, other humans, we call it, or the other things around us. So let us
Mhm.
understand what was Adriana like when she realized or when she was conscious about her being a human and her being something that is a living being. And what was you as a child? Tell me something takes back to the memory of when you realize or when you are conscious about your own as a child. Who were you? What
Yes,
were
I
you? What
think
were your
that
dreams? Yeah.
it's a great question. Um, what comes first to me is my first memory ever that I remember. I
Yeah.
recall it. It's when I was 3 years old, and my
Oh,
mom
wow.
confirmed that with me. When I was 3 years old, I remember that I was a curious child. Since I could start talking, I love to talk. I love to ask a
Yeah.
million questions. Why?
Yeah.
And I drove my parents and my grandparents and everybody crazy. What
Mm.
was the big that memory that I can see myself. I was playing in mud and I
Mhm.
was creating and talking with my toys, and I was in a little bit of mud at my grandparents in the
Mhm.
village where my
Mhm.
grandparents was on my grandma's side, my mom's side. And I was playing, making mud, making, I imagine, I had a good imaginations. So I imagine I was making food and I was feeding the ducks and I was cutting leaves. And that's some memory I have it. I can see it even in my mind now. a little like sand bucket with had painted ducks on it and flowers. And that was my favorite thing. I was fascinated about a little bucket, and I was carrying with me everywhere, and I was putting mud and water and make myself all dirty. And my grandma, my mom were all upset with me, but that was my first memory ever. So Adriana, when she was little, something I carry with me throughout my life was curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Curiosity of why things are the way they are, and I always want to ask a deeper why than what was I was answered. You know,
Mm.
people says like, "Oh, the tree is like this because it's a tree," but why? I always have another why on top of a why, and
Right.
that in time, people start getting kind of
Yeah.
enough of me, and they said, "Okay, Adriana, this is too much. Your energy is too much. You too much." And that, of course, that start temper my enthusiasm for life, my curiosity. So I start diminish all these things. And
Mm.
then I became more quiet. I became more introvert than extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
But then I went like this. I was like, woo! And then I went down. And then as I
Mm-hmm.
now on my journey of rediscovering myself, now I'm bringing all those things back to life.
So as a child, I want to ask you, did you had any, like every kid, when parents ask, hey, who do you want to become when you grow old or when you grow up? Was there anything at that time also you had that kind of environment that you were growing up where you were asked and where, or you told, I want to do this, I want to become as a child. Was there anything like that with you as well?
Yes. You're gonna laugh. I had two things. One, I wanted to be loud.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to be loud because I wasn't allowed to be loud or speak. I just wanted to speak, and people keep telling me, you speak too much, you talk too much. And then the second
Okay.
one, I want to be a guest because
Ah,
every time we went to play people to places, you were treated amazing, you got the amazing most food, what they will allow you to sit on the best couch or see,
mm,
and then people never say don't be like that. They allow you to be free. So I'm like,
yeah.
I in my life when I'm gonna grow up, I want to be a guest because then I can be free, can be allowed to be who I am.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's good that you have very flexible mind at that time when you were like, okay, don't want to do a couple of pinpoints as normal humans want to do as a child. But then how did that go and how did you actually, did you had any challenges for that or did you change over a course of time? What was it?
Oh, I'm sure like everybody else, we all had our own challenges, and most of them, they start in childhood. You know, I grew up in a poor family.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a family where growing up in Romania in the 80s is very indoctrinated, the certain
Right.
culture or certain way of being, you know, the
Yes.
patriarchal culture, men above woman.
Yes.
Um, I grew up with like with the roles was very defined what a woman is and what should do or not should do, and then
Mm-hmm.
what a man is and what they do. And I grew up in that environment, so my blueprint was created that way. You know, I grew up with like woman doesn't have much of voice or opinion, just if she's asked. I grew up into a mentality of like we are poor, we have to be grateful for what we have and no ever dream more than that. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I was a child, I didn't even know it exists a world outside of my city.
Yeah.
Barely to think of that is a world outside of my own world or another
True.
country or another continent. I didn't even know nothing. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a TV until I think I was 12. That's
Mm,
when I was connected with the rest of the world.
mm,
We had in the 80s when the communist was the that transition from the communist was like
mm.
diminishing, and the Ceausescu, our president back then, was killed, and so many things, revolution, so many things happened,
Yeah.
and shootings outside, and electricity was cut off, hot water was not available all the
Mm.
time. You know, you make a pot of soup and you grow up with that pot of soup for like all of us,
Yeah.
eat the same thing for a week. So I grew up in a sort of way, so I didn't know it exists something better or something else
Mm.
outside of that. That was
True. There's
my
nothing. Yeah.
world, my normal. Yeah.
Mm,
And as I grow up, staying in Romanian until I think I was 2023, when
mhm,
20, no, I was 23 or 22 or something like that when I was my first time when I exit Romania.
mhm.
And then the world changed for me because now
Right.
I flew to States, to Florida, to Miami, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
it's
So
another world.
So tell me this moment, how did it occur in your mind? Because I think all listeners, they come up with such kind of taking decisions or bold decisions to take in their life on their own. Because, as you said, you grew up into an environment of certain restrictions, of certain challenges where everybody's challenges are different. But however, these challenges that you are facing, obviously, with non-affordability or, no money or whatever, limited resources, but not knowing the world other than what you were living. But then all of a sudden, taking that drastic decision of going from one place to another, altogether anew. How did that occur, and what was going through in your mind at that time? Like, was it bold enough to take a decision, or you took a decision unconsciously, or you think, nah, I'm going to do it either way? What was it?
It was a series of obstacles or series
Yes.
of adversities in our my life that prepare me and push me on that
Correct.
pathway.
Yeah.
My dad was alcoholic, and then my parents, um in high school, when I was in high school, my parents would go so worse that I ran away from home, and my dad was about to literally sell our apartment without my mom notice. So it's
Mm-hmm.
literally we were supposed to be on the street.
Mm.
And I had to take the bull by the horns, and I called my mom. I left from home because I was scared that he's gonna beat me again. So I
Mm.
got to the point that, the life was pushing me. I didn't want to,
Yeah.
but was pushing me on one way. And
Mm.
then we moved out. Me and my mom moved out on the other side of the country. And then I applied to a school that I really wanted to become a vet. And then after 4 years of becoming a vet,
Mm-hmm.
my mom couldn't sustain it was financially, and I couldn't work because
Yeah.
the university was very hard. And
Right.
it got me to the point again, pushing and pushing, and I was resisting and this until one day I couldn't financially, I couldn't finish my university. So I
Mm.
had to make the decision because the pain became greater than the pleasure of
Mm.
being what I was. Not even pleasure, but comfortable. I was comfortable in my own misery, and
Right.
the pain became so greater that even my comfortability in my misery became too uncomfortable, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
I got to the point where I had to find a solution to make money to sustain myself and not depend on my mom, and then hopefully maybe finish my university. And then I left for a year. I called the freeze. The university let me to freeze a year, and then I flew to Florida. I had the friends that were like some friends that were in Florida working seasonally, like 6 months, and then 6 months home. And I
Mm.
said, maybe I can do 6 months and then make some money and then come home and finish my last 2 years of university to become a vet.
Wow.
And so then my mom, I don't have to ask my mom to put sacrifice herself for
Mm.
me. So
Mm.
I did that. I went for 6 months. And then of course the first year I didn't make a lot of money because I wasn't qualified as a chef. So I
Mm.
went there to
Mm.
work as a prep cook. And I made like, I don't know, $8 per hour. So I wasn't making a lot of money. So when I came back home after 6 months, it
Mm.
wasn't enough. And then
Sure.
and then I had some promises from some people in states that will help me to, come back, and it will
Right.
help you to sponsor you and so on. And that will help you to stay in states, and you'll be able. But
Sure.
it came with a big decision, because if I came back to states,
Mm.
I'm losing my 4 years of university.
Right. 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 Yeah, that is.
So yeah.
So basically, tell all the listeners who are listening, and particularly, it's nothing to do with the gender or anything, but it's the mindsets of a human and of a young mindset. Because when we are young, we take a lot of decisions. We don't know whether they will be right or wrong to you or to
Yeah.
others or to your family, but we do still take it. And some people don't take it, Adriana, because there is a fear. But for you, how did you define from becoming, how did you went at that age from fearful, which normally people are, and particularly when you have a restrictions of money, restrictions of resources, restrictions of so any other support or help, when you have all that issues, challenges, how can you become so positive and to bold enough to take that consciously said, I'm going to do this either way and I'm going to try it either way? Because that needs fear, fear because that needs fearlessness, not fearful, because we are born with fearful, I personally feel. So how
Mm.
did you become fearless at a very young age to do anything and
It's
everything?
not it's true, but it's not people look at me and they say like, wow, that's a story or whatever. But it's not that I'm fearless. I am full of fear, but I choose to do it anyway.
Right.
I decide that I don't have the resources, but I can be resourceful.
And what do you think the positive outcome at that time, at that moment? Because our outcomes keep changing from one phase to another phase. But what we always look for is the positive outcome for yourself rather than just everyone.
Yeah.
So in your term,
Curiosity.
how did you see yourself at that time? All the changes that you made
Hmm.
positively, were they all at that moment taking you where you are today when you look back now? What do you
Couple
think?
of things. One is the essence of who I am as a soul in this beautiful life
Yeah.
game for life. It's
Mm-hmm.
curiosity. Curiosity, I had it in this seed in curiosity in me all my life. Since I was a child, I used to ask why?
Mm,
And then when I became adult or later in my adolescence, and I'm like, I
mm,
used to ask why this happened to me.
mm,
And then instead of asking why this is happening to me, I change it. Why this happened to me? Because
mm,
I brought the curiosity into the question. Is the way you put the question. You can ask the same question, but if you
mm.
change the intention behind it, everything changes. And
Yeah.
curiosity, and also it's been indoctrinated in me since I was a child that we're not a quitter. This family is not a quitter. You don't have the option to quit.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing because it never allowed me to be never allowed me to be like, okay, I'm done. This life, it sucked, doesn't work. I'm struggling, I'm suffering, I'm a victim. And I played the victim role by no all means. I was the queen of victim. I was playing the queen, queen of victim all the time. But in the same time, I knew that nobody's coming.
And
I
I
grew
also,
up alone. I don't have brother and sisters. So I
right.
had to become independent since I
So
was a
you are the
child.
only child. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. That will be
Yes.
more tougher because then
Yeah.
you have got that emotional attachment. Oh, my mom has got only me and I have got only mom. So how can I
Yeah.
separate? That's
Yeah.
something is also good.
Yeah. And
But
that was a motive. It's a great point. That's a motive too, because in the moment when I was in
mm,
university and I saw my mom that she was working two jobs and she was living in a rent because we lost everything after my parents' divorce, all the
mm,
bills and all the debt, it was on my mom's name. So we
right.
literally lost everything. We didn't have apartment, we didn't have a place to stay, it was rent. So she
Mm,
had to pay rent for her and then for me. She had to
right.
pay double everything. And it was too hard. After 4 years, it was too hard for her. And I'm like, I can't do this to her and to me. So I think that was another motive to be like, I need to take my life in my own hands and make it happen and stop making my mom sacrifice for my life and for my dreams.
Sure. I think when you said, I want to ask you this because I think now you are a coach. I know you are a coach. Now you are making people understand the realities and how to live, uncover their potential, how to live, grow themselves, how to understand themselves. I want to ask here this question because when you said why it's happening for me, people do ask these questions quite often nowadays. Why only me? Why I am got having all these problems? Why? So, I wanted to say this. How do you look at this? Is it happening to you or is it happening for you? How do you put this in the con
Yes.
as a
For
positive,
yes, such a beautiful, powerful question. Is again for me, again, I'm speaking just from my
Of
perspective and my
course,
own
of course.
journey. For me, universe, I call universe, God, whatever you want to call it,
A
it's
power,
just
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's just higher power. For
Hmm.
me, the universe, I believe and I see it over and over, it just nudge me with, like, hey, wake up, Adriana. And it gave me, like all this trouble, finance problem. Then I couldn't finish the university. Then the promise that was to stay in States was, it disappeared. It was not a promise, just disappeared. Then I lost the 4 years of university. Then I felt like I couldn't go back home.
Mm.
because I disappoint my parents and so on. Then I tried to make something happen in Florida. Then I got married. Then I moved to Canada. Then I
Mm.
got divorced. You know, like universe was like, then I got asthma and the disease. Then
Mm.
I got 20,000, over $25,000 in debt. Universe was keep nudging. It's like, Adriana, wake up,
Mm.
wait. And I didn't. And the universe is like, I'm just gonna take a 2x4 and I'm gonna hit you so hard until you're gonna fall off on your knees and there's no way to go lower than that.
Wow.
And
Mm.
I did that. It happened to that couple of times. And I look in the mirror one morning. You remember we talked about this. I look in the mirror in
Yeah.
one morning and I was so angry of life, God, universe, name it, on me. I was rage. I was done. I was literally done. And I was infuriated. I woke up crying, sobbing, and I went to the bathroom in the mirror and I saw myself and I was like, I'm done with this. No more of this.
Mm.
And I said, something has to change.
Mm-hmm.
The person, and that was the first time when I saw myself in the mirror. And the person in the mirror literally like looked at me and said, not something has to change.
Mm.
You have to change.
Mm.
And that was like, you know, like
Oh,
it came
wow.
straight in my face. Like,
Yeah.
and that was a beginning, like the big crack. I have all these cracks, you know, in
Mm.
me before, but
Yeah.
that was because at that moment, that morning, I was in between life and death.
Wow.
I didn't want to live. I was like, I'm done. And I
Mm.
had previously when I was 14 and other times when I was in the same situation. And
Mm.
by universe help and love, I was not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And this time I was like, I was serious. Like I had two opportunities. One, I'm done with this and
Mm-hmm.
it's done. Or two, something major has to change. My
Mm-hmm.
life has to completely shift it. And
Mm.
that's when that, you know, that part of me, I see my soul. I saw myself maybe real looking at myself. How many of you look into the mirror, but you
Yeah.
never actually see yourself? And that
Mm.
was the first time I saw like the whole me, the 5-year-old, the 3-year-old, the 12-year-old, the 14-year-old, the 18-year-old when I left from home and I was terrified that my dad is going to catch me and beat the crap of me. And all these things, I started seeing all of it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to do something for her and for her and for her and for her. And I'm the only one. Nobody's coming. And it
Wow.
was such an internal decision that shifts something in me. And I became hungry. I became hungry of understanding myself because it's like, you know, when you look in the mirror, imagine this idea, analogy. If we never had mirrors in our life, if we could
Mm-hmm.
never have a reflection to see ourselves,
Right.
how would you know how you look like?
Mm.
You never know how you look like, except that if other people tell you, oh, you have
Tell
long
you.
hair, short
Yeah.
hair, you can never take your eyes out and look at you. Can never.
Mm.
You need
True.
the people and the mirrors outside of you to reflect who you are.
Mm.
So that's for me was a huge wake-up call when I saw myself in the mirror. I saw like, wait, so what I see there, what is reflecting back on me, it's what's happening inside of me because I don't know me. I've
True.
been running away from me
Mm.
all my life.
Mm. Mm.
And that
Beautiful.
was the moment what everything stopped, like the life, world, time, space stopped.
Mm. Mm.
And I saw myself, the whole me, not just the body, not just the soul, not just the mind, the heart, everything. And that was a shift inside of me. And that's when I made the internal decision with all the parts of me that this is the moment I either go down and I'm done, or
Mm.
I either make and is no turning back. And that's when I make that decision. And from
Wow.
there was bring the curiosity. I knew I have a lot of work, and I still have a lot of work.
Mm. Mm.
Like my mom says, we
Mm.
work, we learn our life, and we're still that stupid.
You know, Adriana, you have made opened a can of worms or a book for everyone who are listening. And actually, for me, I'm learning here one thing very profoundly is when you said you are imagine if there was no mirror, where do you look for yourself? And this is so profound because everything is there in the universe for us to understand. However, we don't look around and we don't look inside us. But the tools are all there around us. We just have to identify and take the bold step to do it. So all the listeners who are listening, I think they must be listening here that okay, if you don't know, now here is a tool. Here is a tip given by Adriana. There is nothing stopping you to look in the mirror once in a while and understand what is going on with yourself and ask the questions to yourself. I think that is something is amazing, Adriana. But as I know now that you have faced so many challenges in your journey, whether from the childhood as a child, as a parenting, as a relationships issues, as a career wise or whatever you wanted to do something in your journey with no resources, with less opportunities to excel, but you came out of it. You made out of where you are today. Because today you are actually a coach. You are actually doing something for the good for everyone. So you came out of no good from your position to make good, not for yourself, but also good for others. I think it is amazing to understand your journey. Tell me now, take me to this where you are today. How do you see yourself that where you are today? And where you will be going tomorrow or every single moment that you are moving. How do you see yourself, these mindsets that you have now developed or created or implemented in your own way to understand journey? Because if you have come out of such a big challenges, obviously you don't know what challenges you're going to face in the future because nobody can predict, but you have a great uncovered yourself many challenges. So how do you see now yourself that this transition for you in your journey, is it going to be made you more understanding yourself, relaxed, flexible, and you are ready to face anything and everything that comes your way now? How do you see it yourself?
I'm gonna answer you what we in three words,
Mm-hmm.
three most powerful words.
Tell me.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
And how
Love that.
beautiful is that? That I don't know. Because I don't know,
Mm.
it's an open conversation with
Yes.
universe to
Yes.
see what can come in my life, what
Absolutely.
how I can receive and
Yeah.
give.
Yes.
And I am open because I don't know is mean that it's endless possibilities out there
Mm.
unexplored yet.
Mm.
And that is an exciting thing, not a scary thing. That doesn't
Wow.
mean I'm not scared. That doesn't mean I don't have self-doubt, but I
Mm.
know what to do with it. The problem in general with all of us, including myself, that when self-doubt comes, when fear comes,
Mm.
we tend to cling to them and give them right. Like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I'm scared. I'm not gonna be good. I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna.
Mm.
No, it's what you do with them. You don't have to eliminate them. You have to listen to them. Like I listen my fear. I'm like, interesting. Let's
Mm.
see what is this coming for? Because most of the fear, self-doubt, and all these things,
Yeah.
they are repeated patterns that I had in my past. So
Yeah.
if they come out, does mean, interesting. I still have something to work on. Let's
Mm.
work on that. So
Wow.
I'm always open to see what the universe is going to bring. And I call it just bring it on, bring it on.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, what you said and what you suggested just now is perfect. What you gave me the resonating answer that nobody knows the future, but we are ready for it. And the mindset of readiness or the prepared mindset is all comes from your own experiences. However, it's so important to be because state of mind, as we always talk about, the state of mind keeps changing. Our emotions allow us to change our mindsets, but then that's what the, as you said rightly, is the beauty of it is you are ready for it, and you have accepted I don't know, you have accepted the unknown, and you are ready to that unknown. So that itself is very powerful. And I remember, Adriana, when you did recently a topic called confidence, I think you have got too much confidence than all the listeners who are listening probably. But you're right. Like we don't know ourselves, but we are ready to face ourselves. And I think that is very powerful. So,
But you know why we're ready?
mhm, tell me.
Because we are here.
Mm.
If you weren't here, you weren't ready, you weren't here. But if you're here, you're ready. Again, this is my perspective.
No, no, no,
If I'm here,
absolutely.
that's mean if I'm here in this moment
In
and
this
everything
moment.
that
Yeah,
was
I know what you mean.
behind me, everything that's behind me put me in this place in this moment, that's mean because I am already ready. I don't need more. It's
Wow.
already perfect how it is. And so I know that I'm ready because
Mm,
I'm here. If
mm,
I wasn't ready, the universe will never let me be here.
mm,
It will
mm,
push me. Like I give example with the veterinary. You know, when I was younger and child, I love animals. I love nature. And
mm,
still I do that. And I dreamed to be a vet.
mm,
But the universe was like pulling me away from that. I
mhm,
was promised to go and do veterinary school in states in Florida, and that was taken away from me. And then I'm like, okay, and then I'm gonna find a way to do a school here. Then I moved to Canada. I'm like, I worked as a groomer, I work as a vet assistant, tech. I did all these things, and the universe again pulled that opportunities and move me away from that because that wasn't my destiny. That wasn't my mission in this world.
yes.
So I'm not a vet because I wasn't supposed to be there, and I am where I am today because I'm ready for it, and that's what I'm supposed to be.
Very well said. I think the universe plans for you or does for you, but you also are the navigator for that same thing because you are present in every moment that is given to you. You are present. And I think this is amazing. So, all the listeners, this is amazing conversation I'm having Adriana with today, and I think she has touched on some amazing, amazing, profound statements of hers own with her own experiences, which I hope you all must have resonated in some way or the other. And if not, then try to just understand yourself because I think the key thing, the present moment, we all want this moment, every moment we want to be good. When I say good, doesn't have to be getting so many things or receiving so many things or giving away so many things. It's not about that. It's about having that moment with a more blissful, I call it a blissful moments. When you are satisfied, when you are hungry and you fill your tummy, you are blessed and you are blissful. This is exactly what every moment should be. That's what everybody's looking for. Because if you
Yes.
are not having that moment, then you always thrive for that moment. So I think, Adriana, your journey has been very fascinating, very challenging, but also very fulfilling when it comes to that. So, final message of yours to all the listeners who are listening, because I can only learn, I've learned a lot from you today. So I have got so many topics that I could really talk on now with you, with after understanding your life journey. But before we end this, tell what is your message to all the listeners who may be in your situation, maybe not in your similar situation, but what is life in general that you would give to all the
Mm,
listeners? How do you make those moments, or how do you make yourself present, I would say, in every
yeah.
moment? Give us a message.
First is it's gonna sound weird, but just go with it. Go to the bathroom right now. As you listen to this, go to the bathroom, find a mirror, put your hand on your heart, look at the person in the mirror, and be more kind with that person in the mirror because they do the best they can with whatever they have now. When you're more kind with the person in the mirror, you can be
Mhm,
more kind with the world. But it starts with the person in the mirror. And when you are more kind with you, then all those adversities that take you to who you are and what you do today, be
mhm,
grateful all those parts and all those stuff because it's always light in your
mhm.
darkness. You just don't see it yet.
Mm. Right, right. Wow, wow, beautiful. So, mirror is what is the takeaway for everyone because we can become mirror of everyone and we can make ourselves into that mirror format, because I think that's a very profound and a very deep understanding of who you are and
Yes.
why you are here.
Self-reflection.
A
Remember, we talked
reflection. That's right.
self-reflection.
We talked about a real reflection of yourself
Real
is all in your
reflections.
mirror.
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. With that note, I take this opportunity to thank Adriana for this beautiful conversation and take away real reflections. And I sing this last word is mirror. Mirror, mirror, mirror. There was a movie also called Mirror, Mirror, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's the magical moments of the mirror can be found for yourself within yourself.
Yes.
And so, thank you once again, Adriana. To all the listeners, please write to us, and we will bring Adriana because she is one of our now going to be a lot of topics that we can uncover, because she is a real, genuine soul that we all are, but we just have to uncover. So, with
Thank
that
you so
note,
much. It's been
thank
absolutely my pleasure and my honor. Thank you so much for everyone for watching, and be more kind with yourself. And like I always said, live your life like it's truly yours.
Oh, beautiful. Live your life. It's your life. Enjoy your life. Thank you so much. Goodbye for now. We'll come back soon.